All right, guys, I believe we're live. Sorry, it's me doing the AMA setup today, so you're not getting all the fancy videos and awesome intros. But boy, I'll tell you what, couldn't be more excited than today because it's an awesome moment for Flux and the Flux community. 10,000 nodes, and it didn't really dawn on me till I started writing those zeros out when I was putting together the announcement. How huge that is! 10,000. I literally remember when we just had under 100 nodes on the network as we started to keep, start rolling out everything out. And a dream was 10,000, and we hit it today. So congratulations to, I believe it was GTX user. Let me look here. Let me see who hit it. Yeah, it's GTX. So congratulations. He rolled out 4 nodes and he pushed us right over the top. So we got lots of snapshots in the Discord of us going over. It seems like everybody's pretty stinking happy about it, and I'm really stinking happy about it. So I figured, I'm going to invite a few folks on to the meeting. So we're just going to take like 2 minutes, and I'm going to try to get a couple people on, and I'll be right back. So just give me 2 minutes. Spam, like, share, get as many people as here as humanly possible, and I'll be back. All right, guys, we got some people joining, just coming in. I think Davey is on his way in. Davey, can you hear me all right? Davey, can you hear me all right?
I can hear you.
Cool. Welcome aboard, man. Welcome aboard. So we got a lot of AMA questions out there, and I figured since today is kind of a special event, we'll just do an impromptu Dan threw it together AMA. We had a nice little chat with Ryan Matt earlier today, and I think we have 2 more live streams and 1 podcast yet today. So Dan's a busy guy. Most people are taking it easy and winding down on Fridays. Not us, man. This is when shit gets real. We got some more folks coming into the live stream. Hey, Tom, are you on?
I just want to make sure we have to do that first. I want to make sure that's the right way. So you can message Trunk later.
Huh? Say it again.
Hey, Tom, can you hear me?
Message Trunk later. Just make sure before we.
I'm going to mute you, Tom.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Yeah, we heard you talking about Trunk, so we threw you on mute there for a minute.
Oh,
so,
thanks.
All right, guys. So first of all, I want to thank the community for all the hard work. It's hard to believe that we're at 10,000 nodes. I mean, it still kind of blows my mind. You know, it just seems like just yesterday we were a few hundred nodes, and we had a lot of plans to grow it out, and now here we are sitting at 10,000 plus nodes. So it's amazing.
Well, month and a half ago, we were only at 2,500. So we
it's
quadrupled
insane.
it.
I would say the halvening was a success. What do you guys say?
Absolute success.
Yeah. Davey, will you do me a solid and just pull up some AMA questions, and we'll just go ahead.
Absolutely.
We'll start chewing through some real quick.
Give me one second.
There's a lot of folks that have a lot of questions. So somebody just pulled together a list, I think, to count down.
Yeah, Goldie did a good job there. Give me one sec. Does Flux have the abilities to use NFTs cross-chain? Question by Coolbuster 999.
So Flux is going to handle NFTs a little bit different than everyone else. Everybody else is doing, the smart contract deployment. We want to do the infrastructure. You really have two different components to NFTs. You have the actual smart contract deployment, and then whatever the intellectual information, or if it's a GIF or a video or whatever it is, non-fungible tokens by nature can really honestly be everything from a house to a car to whatever. So we're looking to. There's a lot of front end solutions that are already in play that are doing NFTs well, and and we're going to let them keep doing that. You'll see Zelcore deploying their solution to NFTs based on the Solana network here before too long. And but Flux really comes to shine when our persistent storage is finalized and we can start storing all that data. So there's nothing more terrifying, and I've heard about it where people log on to OpenSeas or something like that, and their NFTs missing because it's it's kind of 100% centralized. So our goal is to be like the back end infrastructure to provide some support for that.
All right. Another question from F. Shaibani. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your nickname there. What happens when all the circulating supply gets locked up for a node? Of course, more nodes, but the question is, what happens to the people who want to deploy an app on Flux nodes and there's no more Flux available in the market because everything is locked up?
Well, that's that if that happened, that would be absolutely insane because the odds of that happening are non-existent. The thing about Flux is much like Bitcoin in the sense that one flux is divisible by 0.00000001 flux. So even in the most extreme situations, as you start to move in, we don't have a term yet for, with Bitcoin, you have Bitcoin, and then you have smaller denominations are called Satoshis. Flux is the primary asset, and then we've talked about different names for the smaller denominations. So, ultimately, I would say this, because Flux has a fixed supply and it's really a deflationary model, and as use case continues to increase, we have to adjust appropriately. So as Flux price rises, we have to make sure that we're adjusting appropriately across the board to allow people to participate in the ecosystem. So I don't ever see a situation. We're talking 125 plus years till the last Flux is mined. Somebody actually did that calculation at one point in time, and it was like 125 to 130 years. So, I'm going to long be gone, so you guys can worry with that later down the road. But, in the end, it's much like Bitcoin in the sense that really we're very close to a point in time where owning one Bitcoin will be damn near impossible, and I definitely see that with Flux. I think we're very early to the game here, and I think that the folks that are running infrastructure now won't look the same in many years from now. So yeah, we have a 5-year, a 10-year, and 15-year projections of what things will look like, and I think it's just going to continue to keep growing. So you're worrying about something you don't have to worry about. There's plenty of Flux and to go around, and we'll make sure we appropriately adjust as we grow.
Yeah, the moment we have to start using decimals to identify our Flux payments, I think that's a good time to be in because we're all here with regular Flux at this point, right? So
yeah,
it's a good time.
We're going to have a contest to figure out what the smaller denomination is. So you have, Bitcoin, and you have Satoshis, you have Flux, and you have a what?
In my case, it would be Fluxies, but that's just
Fluxies. I don't know about that, man.
I know you don't like it. Anyhow,
Somebody brought up, they called them neurons. It says you had Flux, which is in a state of constant change, right? That's this project inside and out. And neurons, the power that makes it go. So I don't know. Just some cool ideas. They wanted to call it a bunch of people wanted to call them Dibbies after my dog, which was kind of cool, but not practical. So yeah.
I could be on board on that one.
All right. What else do we got?
All right. When will we start seeing the new benchmarks in the FluxOS web view? Internet speed, for example. Question from Second TL Mining.
So we put a statement out about this yesterday. We are in the process of, so now the halving is done and our nodes are coming online. What we're trying to do is gather quantitative data so that we can see what exactly where we are at across the board. A lot of folks that are running infrastructure, their major hiccup or their major sticking point is the bandwidth. And I have to explain why that is super important. That bandwidth allows us to be enterprise grade infrastructure. So yes, if you have a crappy internet connection, it does suck. I admit it. I dealt with crappy internet connections for a long time. I finally got, fiber and, it's a big deal. But we have to remember that as we're deploying this infrastructure, we need to benchmark it appropriately. And if we get to a critical point where we believe we can lower those standards, we will do that appropriately. But we're not going to do that just willy-nilly. We need to understand exactly what the current statistics are. How many we have a full load now that we can benchmark. I mean, we got 7,000 plus instances running right now on Flux. Our estimate is about 1.2 to 1.4 million is what we have with Titan coming online and the Cirrus nodes. So I would say it's probably going to take us a little bit to figure out what it is, and then I think you'll see the benchmarks come down. So we're going to give people plenty of notice that we're getting ready to institute those benchmarks, because we know there's some folks out there that have what are they calling it? Potato internet? I don't know, something like that. Yes,
potato internet. That's what we call it.
Potato internet. So that's like I had no idea what the hell they were talking about. They just kept putting potato pictures online, and I was like, okay. Anyway. So yeah, we don't want any potatoes out there, guys. So, if you're home hosting, I would say our push is definitely to have more infrastructure home hosted. And if you look, Davey, you showed me the other day that picture of the pie that used to be like 50% in Germany, right? Now it's like so diverse. It's so decentralized that 1 out of every 4 is unknown, which means that's probably a home hosted device. So that's pretty impressive. That's decentralization at its best. So really super happy with that.
And growing.
And growing. Yeah. And the other thing, I'll put a little asterisk out. People that are running home hosted devices, that's going to be important for you in the future, because we are looking to incentivize those folks that are running home hosted devices. And I mean, our ultimate goal is to make this as decentralized as humanly possible. So, if you're setting that gear up at home, or if you have your own little data center that you're doing, you're going to get rewarded at a higher level than the other folks that are using VPSs. So we're not trying to get rid of VPSs or anything like that, guys, but we want to make sure we keep decentralization at the forefront. So just keep that in mind. All right.
Next question. This is one from Derv, one of our moderators. That one is for me, I guess. When guide? Thank you, Derv. We're working on guides every single minute. Question.
So what do you mean guides?
That's a running joke at this point in the community. They're asking for guides. Guides for installing nodes, guide for installing everything and anything. Chex is asking a question here. As more dApps and use cases jump on board Flux, are there plans to share some of their fees with nodes and miners? And question goes on, but we can start with that one first.
So no, yes, and no. As more currently, we kind of use a Linux distribution model in the sense that we're almost giving the service away for free. the miners and the node operators are rewarded from the block reward. There will be a certain point of time where our enterprise, all 3 enterprise level infrastructures are going to have specialty classes. So one of those is going to be a storage node. And I can't say which one, but if you go look at the ones that are the most, there's probably going to be that one. And they'll have different tiers that they have to reach. If they reach those different tiers, they're going to get incentivized for additional, payouts. So the ultimate goal is to have each one of these classes doing something specific to that class that will then allow them to be incentivized above and beyond. So ultimately, as we grow the Linux distribution model, we really allow folks to develop on the platform, and we've seen them starting to come in droves. I mean, Davey, you're the one that's fielding a lot of these calls. I mean, we're talking to some big heavy hitters in the space, that's for sure. Folks that really want to understand what the hell's going on with Web3, and they want to deploy for the first time, and they want to play around with it. And we're not talking, like little projects. These are big projects. So the answer to your question is no, we will not be incentivizing anything above and beyond the block reward until we get to the point where we start to specialize the node tiers. So I think once Titan's out, once our Cirrus nodes are out, then I think you'll see us start to look at, developing out Project Thunder and things like that for storage nodes and so on and so forth. All right, what else we got?
I think somebody's not muted in the Zoom chat here. So.
Sonny, you're typing away, buddy.
All right. And furthermore to his question, so he's a little worried that with the amount of Cumulus nodes coming online, if something goes wrong and the node goes down, is it possible for your Cumulus node to lose a week of work? Can block times decrease so that the payouts are more regular but potentially worth less? So,
yeah, we're not interested in changing anything about our block times.
Okay.
We're not, and you start messing with block times and you start messing with your economic policy, you're no better than the people we're trying to beat here. I will say this, that, bottom line is the more nodes that come online, the more opportunity that comes online. So, a base pay of once every couple weeks or once a month is probably, realistically what you're going to look at. But that does not determine what you can do above and beyond to run additional applications to receive different additional rewards. So some of the projects that are coming through labs, as they start to deploy infrastructure, we're going to incentivize the folks that go out and help to build that out. Perfect example is KDA, what we've done with KDA. So with KDA, we deployed a few of their nodes. They wanted 100 nodes. We ended up giving them 1,000 nodes, right? And the folks that were running those KDA nodes very early on, they were incentivized very well, and they made a lot of money because they were early to the game. The way that I look at it is these nodes are kind of a gateway, just like a mining rig, so to speak. You can mine whatever project you support, and if you have more than 1 or 2 or 3 or 20 or 25 or 50, whatever the number is, of applications that need deployed on Flux's network, and you need to support it, and you'll be rewarded in their native asset. So there's lots of opportunities to increase your income well beyond that. Now, the other thing is the Titan nodes. Titan nodes are a little bit different than the standard nodes that we have our enterprise infrastructure, because they are actually locked. So we've got it was 3 months, 6 months, and a year, correct, Davey? Am I
that's
wrong?
correct.
So if you're locking, and now the one nice thing is that you are kind of, I wouldn't say guaranteed, but pretty damn close to guaranteed, like a very respectful return on your investment. We're not the type of Ponzi project out there that's going to give you 10,000 % return on your investment, and then by the time you're ready to cash out, it's worth nothing. So we don't do that shit. We do things the right way. So if you're putting it into a Titan node, it's going to lock it up for 3 months, 6 months, and a year, and you'll be able to see right on the dashboard what your APY is. And I've even seen I've dropped a few screenshots of Titan actually working. And as a matter of fact, Davey, you sent me transaction the other day that showed me that Titan was working.
That's correct. That's
That was
correct.
pretty cool. I had no idea what the hell he was sending me, but I got excited once I
Well,
figured it out.
that's kind of the plan as well, is that I can tease Dan. Well, he teases you, everybody else. I can tease Dan with small snippets like that. So that's
Yeah,
fun.
it took me a while to figure out what I was looking at, and I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute! I know what this is." And so, yeah, Titan is already working, and I think it's going to continue to get better as we go. So, I'm really excited for the team that's working on that as well. Big shout out to all those guys.
Yeah, big shout out to Jeff Vader because he's been working nonstop on it, and it's in test at the moment. So,
Davey, did you see what's behind me? You know what this is?
that's your white paper, isn't it?
That's the Flux white paper. I had it framed. Isn't that cool?
That is pretty
I
cool.
like that. I like that. Maybe I'll.
We should all have one in one day in our
We have
offices.
Yeah, we hit 15,000 nodes. We'll give it away. How about that?
That sounds like a plan.
Everybody's out there going to start tuning nodes up now just to do it. So,
All right, I'll give you an easy question now.
sure.
Will there be any more parallel asset snapshots after May? Is there a limit to how many parallel assets can exist?
So there is no limit to parallel assets, whether it's 10 or 100. It will make logical sense to add additional platforms. I will say this: the percentages decrease with each time we take a snapshot, and that's just really that's kind of plays into our deflationary model that we have for the project. So, I mean, I like the projects that are getting added right now. Terra is tearing it up. I mean, like ridiculously, and we're really excited to work with those guys. I think it's going to be a really good opportunity for us to work together. And Avalanche is another good one, but I like Polkadot. I like Kasama. I like, a lot of different projects out there that I think we could see a lot of value at. So the answer to your question is May 5th is a snapshot for the first half of this year. Now I envision a second snapshot somewhere closer to the end of the year, much like we did last year. We did a snapshot at the beginning, and then we did another snapshot. Actually, we did 3, I think, last year, but we're going to do probably 2, and we'll probably double them up the way that we have. So this snapshot on May 5th is going to be Terra Luna and Avalanche, and then we'll have probably another snapshot, I would say, in the maybe October, November timeframe, and wrap up the end of the year with another launch.
All right. That was a question from Shoka Mars. So again,
grab some out of the live.
Let's do a live one.
Yeah, I don't want those guys to feel left out.
All right, let's use Marcus here. Will there be a maximum limit on how much Flux you can stake with Titan?
Well, there is going to be a maximum number of Titan nodes as we roll it out. So one thing we don't want to do is dilute that particular class. And there was a while ago where a lot of confusion around what class that is, and it is a Stratus class. So I would say, if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, we were being proactive rather than reactive, because by us having the ability for people to deploy on Titan, they're not sticking it on some exchange. Like, let's hypothetically say a large exchange decides that they want to start a staking process, much like Coin Metro. A whole bunch of your asset is now going to be in control of a third party exchange, and that's not what you want, because then you just look like ETH, right? Because ETH 2.0 is going to be 90% controlled by exchanges and their staking model. And we don't want to do that. So we were proactive with Titan, but we're realists as well. We don't want to dilute that class because that's our best class. The numbers will naturally start to adjust themselves because folks that are running maybe a Stratus, and if those rewards start to come down at all, they can deploy to a different class. And I know this works because I watch these guys do it. It's almost like spec mining when you're a miner. When you move from one algorithm to the next algorithm, you're moving back and forth when the opportunity is right. So I could see people stripping down a Stratus node and putting it over to a Cumulus node or whatever the scenario is, right? There's going to be tons of opportunity there, but we will limit the number of Titan nodes at initial deployment, mostly because what we want to do is stagger these nodes. We want to make sure that, one, they're completely decentralized. So they're in places that we need them the most all over the world. 2, it doesn't deteriorate the current the workhorse node of the network by diluting that immensely. And 3, we want to be able to make sure that those lockup periods don't all happen at once. So if you deployed 20 nodes and then all of a sudden they were 3 months, they all expired at once, you lost 20 nodes. So it's almost going to be like a round robin style as we deploy it moving forward. So then, and part of that expanse on that question to look at as well is, somebody asked me, they said, well, what if I'm a provider and I want to be able to run one of these Titan nodes? Yeah, we're going to have a group of trusted providers of folks that are from the community and from even Web 2 legacy infrastructure that are going to want to deploy these things. So for us, it's a win-win either way. So that's where I think where we're at with that.
Absolutely. So if you're interested in helping provide servers for Titan, hit myself up on the Discord. We're collecting a group of folks to start doing this from the get-go. So if you have the computational power but you don't have the Flux, don't worry. We can work together in other ways as well. So and that's one way. We want to include the community in this, but we're also including some Web 2 providers, right?
Yep. Oh yeah.
But we're not
Don't
disclosing yet.
Yeah, don't get leaky, buddy.
No, I'm not leaky, Dan. So
I've already held that secret for way too long. So let's just.
I know.
Let's
Keep moving on, I guess. Do we want to take another question from the live chat?
Yeah, let's do it.
So fully electric is really dying to know. So how many nodes, Titan nodes will Flux run before the community will allow to deploy their own Titans? And also what is the requirements to set up and run a Titan node?
Oh, where our goal is the team has no interest in being, caretakers or gatekeepers of any of this. So ultimately, I think that as sooner we get it turned over to the community and they can deploy Titan nodes, the better off we are. But to begin with, what we want to do is make sure the folks that are actually going to be supporting these things from the backside are actually doing what they say they're supposed to do. Because not only are actually doing what they have, rock solid tested infrastructure to run these, because now not only is it just you that ran a node and maybe the node went down, now I lost rewards. Now you got 40 people sitting in a node, and if it goes down, those 40 people are losing their rewards. So it is very important that we see, as a community, the folks that are supporting this, that their uptimes are they match exactly what the expectation is for Titan. So the foundation will definitely 100% deploy a few nodes, but that's it. We're not interested in being the caretakers of it. Once we know the infrastructure works, we'll pull them back down again, and off with the community they go. So
to be fair, the foundation jumps in to make sure it's a full node at all times, but not as running for themselves, right? So it's just to make sure that if somebody starts staking, there's a full server ready to go, and then the person starts making earnings at that given time. So that's kind of the idea behind it. All right, let's see. Any other questions that I can see quickly in the chat?
If you guys got a question, throw it up there real quick, and we'll jump back to the one in Discord if you want.
Yeah, Juan was asking when will the details on the FTX deal be announced? FTX deal. I'm not aware of any. FTX deal. He wants to know when details will be announced on that.
Yeah, I want to know too.
Yeah,
let me know.
If you know more, let us know.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Working with these exchanges, they usually know more than we know. So we usually don't find out I was like literally almost asleep on the couch watching TV at 10 o'clock at night when Binance decided they wanted to list this, and I never went to bed for like 2 days. So yeah, that was fun and blast. Hey, any kind of heads up would have been nice, guys. Just I'm not complaining about it, but definitely freaked me out. So yeah, no, FTX is a group we'd like to work with. We are, obviously FTX is in Zelcore, and I make no qualms about it. There's 2 exchanges that I want. I want crypto.com and I want FTX. I want to make that is my goal. If we get crypto.com and we get FTX, I feel like we have covered all bases on exchanges. And I don't really care much for any of the other exchanges that are left. So,
All right. Mr. Flux is wondering, have you considered setting up Titan locations in areas powered by renewable energy? Could help the PR behind the proof of useful work consensus.
what are you on the team meetings?
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder that too.
I mean, that's exactly what we're doing. We're looking at opportunities to make sure that we reduce our carbon footprint, and also we really build out our model to push proof of use of work. So we already have proof of use of work on the node side because these aren't just transactional validators; these are actually real nodes doing real work. So I mean, you can already coin the phrase proof of use of work has been deployed on the node side. So the mining side is the next step, and we'll have to look at that's going to take a little bit longer for it to come to fruition because there's a lot of moving components. The way that graphics cards currently process is not necessarily conducive for proof of use of work. So we have to figure out how to basically generate a completely new algorithm that's going to utilize specific parts of the graphics card. And well, if you take a look at some of the people that we've been talking to and working with and around, and I can't give names, but I will tell you this, we'll be able to tap into resources of people that know about that. Proof of use of work is not a Flux project. It is a blockchain project. Our goal is to build this up, open source it, and give it to anyone that wants to run it, and they'll be able to participate with our marketplace. That's the goal. So once we let go of our tribalistic ways of my bag's the greatest bag, and we just stop with that shit, and we start working on fixing a problem. The problem is very apparent. Right now, we have a lot of computational resources that are going to waste. Proof of work is the only decentralized consensus mechanism that exists, the only one. So if we can make it that much better and have it adopted on a mass scale, then we're really in good shape. So yeah, I think that's going to take us a lot to get it to where we really want it to be. I think it's going to take, it's going to take a while. Our goal is to have it on testnet this year at some point toward the end of the year. And then working into next year, Q2-ish, probably Q3, start to have it go live. But as I found out with working with these guys for many, many, many years, is we always plan for the worst, but we end up delivering. I mean, we're delivering Titan like in a few weeks, you know what I mean? And then we were talking about that in like Q3. So that we move quick, we iterate quick. So yeah, I'm excited for proof of use of work. I want to see it sooner than later.
All right. Want to go back to the AMA questions, or do you want to keep asking?
Just flip back and forth between them.
Let's flip for a second back. Will we be able to see the amount of dApps running on the network and the amount of resources used by all of them?
Yes, you will, and that is called Jetpack 2.0. So what we're doing is Jetpack is already out, right? So if you haven't checked it out, go to runonflux.io, go into deploy, and you can walk through about a 5-step process. Davey, you've done it many times. Mm-hmm. It's super easy, very easy for people to deploy. We have, and as a matter of fact, we have, people that are deploying, they're like, oh my God, I can't believe how easy this is and how cheap this is. It doesn't even seem right. And they're really excited for it. So Jetpack 2.0 is going to be the metrics model. So, our goal is to compete with the AWSs, the DigitalOceans, all the different platforms that are floating around out there that, we can kind of rival them. So let me see. Google Cloud, Rackspace, Microsoft Azure, DigitalOcean, so on and so forth. So Jetpack 2 really is exactly that. It's going to give us quantitative data that we can start to compare and contrast exactly where we are, benchmarking against Web 2. Web 2 is kind of the standard now, and we have to basically benchmark ourselves to be as good, and then better than what the current Web 2 infrastructure is. And the best way to do that is have the actual data set so that people can see that, how many applications are running? What is the current capacity? What is the, here's some APIs for integration, all these different things. So that's Jetpack 2.0.
Yeah, there's some questions from real world use cases that have pointed certain things out that we have to follow to make sure that we can deliver. And one of those questions was, can we see like a dashboard to see how much my instances are using in case I have to increase the amount of instances I need or increase the memory, etc. So as soon as we can roll that out, I'm sure we can also show how much the actual use is on the network as well. So that will be great.
Here,
All right.
here, let me take this one real quick. This is a clarifying point from Web3 community.
Perfect.
The FTX question was about the marketing company you guys hired that works with the FTX. Okay, now that makes sense. So yes, we have hired specifically for Flux a marketing company that has worked with several of the large key players in the space. And the reason behind that is we want to push Flux to the next level. And for us to do that, we have to start having like almost a standard marketing process. So, these guys are their specialty is SEO optimization. It's branding. It's input on many different facets of what we're currently doing. We hired them. That time frame is in the May time frame when we're really going to hit the rubber meeting the road. But we're already making our internal changes to our marketing and PR process so that we can kind of align that. So the Flux Army is up and functioning and kicking butt, and we're not going to change that process. We're going to keep that the same. The one thing that we are going to change is you'll start to see a more professional. And if you haven't checked out maybe some of our Medium articles, they're geared more toward folks that need a deeper understanding in the, if somebody from Web 2 comes over and they want to understand Web 3, we need to have the cadence for that. So, the way that we approach this is we really have two unique things that we have to work through. One is the retail side. So the developers that are going to deploy on the platform, but also the legacy enterprise infrastructures that currently exist as well, the big players in the space. So let's say the Airbnbs or the Ubers, those folks who have massive networks that are going to want to start moving. I saw somebody the other day say on Twitter, they're like, I have got the shits of, Uber, and I'm going to do my own DAO and it's autonomous network, and we're going to deploy it, and it's going to be the drivers who are the ones that are, the consensus mechanism. These are the guys that are controlling it through the DAO, and that's a perfect example of the folks that we want to start moving from Web 2 over to Web 3. So, Elon, if you're listening, you can try to buy Web 2 legacy infrastructure, or you could design it on Web 3 from the foundation up, and you could create that new uncensorable version of Twitter that you really want. So, and you're going to see like this Elon Musk thing is it's a precursor to what's going to happen overall. Web 2 is going to shit their pants at some point because they're going to realize that they're going to lose market share, massive amounts of market share, to Web 3 based technologies. And I'm not just talking Flux. I'm talking all these platforms that are developing on top of Web 3. So, I think we're in a really good time, and, I'm excited to see it all happen. So anyway, long story short is marketing and PR wise, we need to make sure that we align ourselves professionally. And I think this is a way that can make it happen.
All right. Let's see here. I'm going from the bottom up now. Does the revenue generated by Dapps gets distributed to the value of the tokens? I'm not 100% sure what he means with that. That's from Fudo Sama 93. Fudo, if you're listening, can you explain what you're looking for there?
Yeah, that's got me a little confused too.
Another question regarding the rewards declining because more nodes are coming online. We already answered that question.
Yeah, I kind of already answered that. I think you'll start to see rewards equalize, and honestly, you'll see people drop off. It's just how it goes, right? We live in a really weird space where they'll think they'll get 10,000% on another project, so they'll drop off. It'll equalize. We'll settle in around 10,000, ish as we go. 10,000 was our projected number, and that's exactly where we're at. So that's pretty awesome. And the other thing is people that are in the space who didn't experience the KDA distribution, then they don't understand that nodes are revenue generators. They see them as passive income models. They're not seeing them as active revenue generators, and they are. It looks exactly the opposite of what a passive model is. In other words, the node itself is passive. It's creating flux, but then you're only limited on top of that of what applications that you support and what currencies you'll be rewarded in. I mean, Davey, I don't know if you ran a KDA node when they started or not, but we were getting like 20 KDA every Tuesday. I mean, Taco Tuesday, man. We love the Taco Tuesday, right? And man, I'll tell you, if you got in early enough, man, you ROI'd everything with just the fact that you were running
Just your KDA paid for your
KDA on.
hosting.
So now think about that in context and build that out. Now there's 25 projects running through labs that are all looking and vying for additional infrastructure in a decentralized platform. And they're all going to be rewarding at some point. So, you're going to be able to pick or choose the projects that you think are the ones that you want to participate in and get rewarded in their native asset. So it really takes, it's almost like I said, spec mining, where you could spec mine different projects. Well, you're going to be able to do that exactly with your node. Maybe KDL comes on and you want to participate with KDL. And then, okay, well, here's Cadix. Now Cadix is live. I'll run a Cadix node. Or, hey, how about this over here? DocuSign, they're another one. Or, all the other different platforms that are developing out of labs and coming through that process. So my thought process on it is I don't give a shit what the reward is, as long as I'm getting flux, because in the grand scheme of things, if you could have been mining Bitcoin, and I had my little ASIC miners, right? You have to think conceptually long term. So as long as I ran those little ASIC miners till they wouldn't run anything anymore, and then threw them away, right? So, and that's the way you got to look at it here. Is there's plenty of potential. You just have to dig down into it.
I see Mototech is also in the chat. Hey, Mototech, how you doing?
Hey, man.
If a VC is interested in Flux, what is the best way they can get involved?
Buy some Flux.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's no other way. There's no equity that we're going to give away. There's no, there's nothing. This is the way it should be. If you invest in a project because the project is important, right? Then your easiest way to do that is exposure through the asset. So, trust me, I get no more than 50 inquiries a week with VCs wanting to, they don't understand that this is a fairly mined project. No VCs, no, early investors, none of that horse shit, right? So when you tell them there's not a way for you to enter to get equity or anything like that, they're a little confused because they're used to a proof of stake based project where you can sell a shit ton of the tokens to VCs who then, rain them down on retail's head. That's not how it works here. If we literally had a company come in and buy $500,000 worth of Flux the other day, and they came to me and they said, how do I got $500,000. I want to put it in Flux. How do I do that? I said, here's the name of our OTC. Go to the wait, no. I can just get it from you guys. No, you can't get it from us because none of us are selling shit. So good luck with that. So that's going to ultimately affect the price of Flux overall. So as you start to see this, you've seen this little trough come down in this accumulations, and I'm not an investment advisor and everything I say is dumb. So don't follow anything that I say, right? But this is my opinion, personal opinion. You see this trough, this accumulation trough. As soon as this starts to move back up, this market starts to move back up, people are going to want exposure in every way, shape, and form to what the next iteration of the internet is and what Web3 is. And we're positioned to be the people in the know with the network to make that happen. And ultimately, somebody said to me the other day, they said, Dan, do you see yourself sitting on CNBC talking about this? And I'm like, I'd hate to do it, but I would do it because I believe in this project so much. I believe in what we're doing as a team. And there will be a point where we will be the experts in the room and others will be listening to us. It's like very first time I heard somebody talk about Bitcoin, man, it drew me in big time. And I went back to them with many questions about Bitcoin and why Bitcoin was important and so on and so forth. There'll be a time where we'll be the keepers of knowledge. We'll be the purveyors of info. We will be the evangelists of the platform, and we'll be the ones that are talking and answering questions. And we're just getting started, guys. I mean, like literally just getting started.
All right. Let's see. Mm. We already answered the parallel asset question. Okay. What prevents illegal websites like dark web weapons, human traffic, and all not so nice words to being deployed on Flux? Thanks. And this is a question from Capsule, and he's been eager all morning to get that answer, I think, because I've saw it a few
I think
times.
everybody is eager to get that answer. And so the way that we look at it is, and what it comes down to is there is a set of guidelines for really any community. And with Flux being essentially a community-based project with an XDAO in place, we're going to set the terms of service of what can and cannot run on this network. And the individuals participating in the network, including miners, will eventually be able to signal what the actual proposals are and what will be accepted for the network and what is acceptable. There are certain things that you just can't have on any network, and it's just not, and you guys know what I'm talking about. I mean, there's just really one thing that I see that really ends up being a no-no. The nice thing about the way we are legally is essentially it's a precedent has already been set in terms of holding ISPs and other providers liable for the content that goes across their network. Flux is no different. So, we can't be held liable for whatever is distributed on the network. And that would come back ultimately to the end users who deploy whatever it is that's nefarious. And I would say legal entities, if somebody came to Dan and said, we need to take this down, and perfect example is this. I'll use this as an example, and it popped up just the other day, and I think it's a great way to talk about it. We had a project that essentially was in labs, and they had some issues with their founder, some issues with their team, and they ended up a large portion of the team left, and then the other ones were left kind of holding the bag, so to speak. And it, some people would call it a rug. I don't think it was a rug because they want to keep developing the project. But what happened was I had people come to me and say, hey, look, these guys pieced out and they were running on Flux. Their website, their applications, a bunch of stuff is running on Flux. We should take that down. They need to come down because, whatever. And I said, can't happen. It just won't happen. I can't take it down. There's nobody in the team that can take it down. And where do you send a subpoena for cease and desist? If we're doing it decentralized network appropriately and correctly, and we have a terms of service as a community that has embraced that, and I think we can all agree there are certain things that just don't fly. But hey, I don't give a shit anything. I don't give a shit what you put on there as long as it meets this community's terms of service. And I'm not talking Dan Keller sitting in an office somewhere. And I'm talking node operators. I'm talking miners. I'm talking people that are working in this ecosystem. And the other thing to be said is the federal government and the law enforcement agencies better get better at being able to tag these issues, because this continues to keep growing. This is a decentralized model. So they're going to have to get better at what they're doing as well. So if they know that there's somebody out there running something nefarious, if they can, let's face it, this is on the end users. And by the way, by Dockerizing applications gives us an extra layer of security. So in the end, I think terms of service, community-based terms of service, the ability for law enforcement to do their job if somebody is doing something nefariously, because it can't come from us, right? And essentially making it as decentralized as humanly possible, so there's no point of failure. So, I think overall, We've aligned ourselves very well. We've had legal reviews on this multiple times, and I'm very comfortable with where we're at today with us being truly decentralized. It'd be like trying to shut down Bitcoin nodes. You just can't do it.
All right. Fully Electric has another question. I think he's been asking a few questions actually at this point.
He's hopped up on the queue, man. He's got to go in there. Fully
He
Electric.
he wants to know more and more and more. So when is Flux planning to change the algorithm? And also, does the algorithm need to change before proof of use will work?
So proof of use will work will be the algorithm change. It'll be in tandem with a couple other things that we'll talk more about when we get close to time. We understand the current algorithm is not friendly for AMD cards. If you guys got AMD cards, we know they're not, Flux isn't the warmest and fuzzy. Well, it's very warm, but I mean, warmest and fuzziest for those. So we want to level that playing field at some point. And I think with proof of use will work, that's where you're going to see it come into play. So I'm not saying we're going to flat pay if you have a crappy card versus a really good card that you're going to make the same. No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is we're going to bring it right now. If it's skewed to NVIDIA this way and AMD this way, we're going to bring it closer to where it's like this, So I think we'll probably be starting to work with that Q3, Q4 this year when we start to deploy testnet.
I would love to see more souls on my AMDs. I'm not going to lie. That would be nice. All right. Next question. In the session with Ryan Mata earlier, by the way, that was pretty cool just jumping in on that.
I had to call him out, man. Come on. What are you selling Flux for, buddy?
Yeah, exactly.
He's got a good excuse. I like Ryan. He's good.
You were talking about the revenue from Dapps deployed. Curious if that goes to the Flux team or if it increases the value of the Flux token.
So essentially, right now we're break even on anything that's deployed. I mean, if you go in and you go through the process, I think what was it, like 5 nodes for 0.5 Flux? There's no money. Not even. There's no money to be made there. And ultimately, because we're using a Linux distribution model, we want to keep it as free. Now, I will tell you, we are going to adjust that. We can't keep it, 75 cents to deploy 5 servers. It just doesn't make sense to do that. Once we have reached kind of what our internal benchmark is, we'll start to ramp that prices up a little, but we will always be the cheapest. We'll always be the biggest, and we'll always be the best. We'll always make sure that we're a fraction of what the large box retailers are charging. And essentially that will eventually become a profit model at some point. At some point it will. And when we start to get to the point where that profit model starts to come together, then I think we'll have more of a proposal or an Excel around that. I think right now, the way that it stands, anything that's earned goes back to kind of the foundational we've kind of established a perpetual foundation to make sure that we could hire the best devs and the best folks out there. And I don't think anyone would disagree with the fact that we've done exactly that. We just added probably one of the best CTOs in the industry in Jeremy Anderson. I mean, guy is fantastic. I mean, was one of the lead devs on Ravencoin. He's just a really smart guy all around. We hired our CMO, which is Betty, and she's fantastic. She's pulling the marketing pieces together. And, the last time I stopped counting we were around 50 some plus team members, all doing very important and unique work. So we didn't get here by accident, guys. We got here because we did the right things at the right time. And we're going to keep all gas, no brakes. Let's go.
All right. I have a client who wants to deploy his website on Flux. Good. How can he be sure that his code base will not be visible to everyone? So
we're working on that right now with persistent storage and basically hardened Dockers. And I probably am butchering this up, and we want to bring Trunk on one time to explain it. But essentially what's happening behind the scenes is the next piece that we're working on. So now we've got the Havening out of the way, and we've got Titan pretty well wrapped up, is we want to work on our persistent storage data and also our security aspect of it as well. So, there's a lot of folks out there that talk about Kubernetes and things like that. Now we went a different direction than that, and I think we picked the right direction. So I think you'll probably see over the next month and a half. I think we're pretty close to deploying. I can tell you we've been testing IPFS out on the network as well. We have a couple instances of IPFS rolling out there, but our goal is to make sure that all that data is private and does not fall into nefarious hands. So again, iterative process, guys. You know, we got to crawl before we run, and you know, we're toddlers at this point, so we're almost dangerous.
I think we're out of questions, Dan. That never happens. I think we answered them
man,
all.
I love you guys too, man. Somebody said they love me, so I needed that today, guys. Thanks. You guys have all been really amazing with the support that I've gotten from the community, and the team has gotten from the community. It's palpable, guys. You guys are hands down, and I don't say this because it's a project that I work on. I say it's because it's fact. We have the best fucking community there is, hands down, without a doubt. The folks that are in this space are here for the right reasons. We reach 10,000 nodes because of there's people out there that believe in the project and believe in what we're doing. And I think we just keep working hard, man. That's what we need to do. So thank you for that.
All right. Want to answer one more question from Fully Electric, because he's going ham on the questions today, it seems.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'll take a couple more. So if anybody has any other questions, throw them up here real quick.
All right. Okay. Jugnaut just asked, what's the schedule for Thunder, Project Thunder?
Well, I got to answer by Brian. He asked whether or not I would be his Flux dad. Of course. Of course. Send me the adoption papers. We'll do it as a smart contract. I'll just adopt you on the blockchain. So you're my first child NFT. Okay, now go ahead. Sorry.
Now I have to go back to see what the question was. Oh yeah, what's the schedule for Thunder?
Well, Thunder's rolling right now, kind of, sort of, right? So we already know which class of node we're going to pick. And as soon as we really implement our final benchmarks, I think we're going to probably start looking at each class. I know it's been talked about in the dev meeting. I mean, I think our last dev meeting went 3 hours. I mean, and we are working on having a public dev meeting as well, if anybody would be interested in attending that. I think we'll probably do it on Saturdays because it's kind of nice because everybody can participate that way. And, you know, a lot of folks have jobs and stuff going through the week. So we'll shoot for Saturdays, and we'll open it to the public to listen in on and be participatory to a certain extent. You got to remember, these are devs, so they're going to be focused on the technical. Like, this is me at a dev meeting. You got to love the technical stuff, right? So I wake up every now and again and I'm like, wait a minute, what'd you say there? Okay, I like that. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, definitely we want to have people participating in all kinds of different ways. So yeah, definitely we'll be doing something like that.
Does Zelcore support multi-signature? If not, do you plan to add the support for it?
No and yes. No, it does not currently support multi-signature, but you can use a multi-signature. There is a multi-signature wallet out there, I think. I think it's in the, I don't know how the hell they do it.
It's not fully released yet, but definitely is multi-signature on the Flux chain at this point.
Yes, there'll be multi-signature. So, and oh, by the way, Titan revolves around multi-sig as well. So there's lots of little nuggets of interesting stuff there. So, but yeah, we do anticipate on Zelcore is going through a real complete rework right now, and if you guys could see it, you'd, oh my God, it was gorgeous. I'm excited to see what it becomes. So, you know, I think a lot of the input that you guys have given us, we're listening to in the Zelcore side of the world. And I think you're going to see some fairly big releases coming out.
Arno Prince says, well done, Team Flux. Wish I could find a buyer for my kidney so I could spin up more nodes.
Don't sell your kidneys, God's sakes.
You need those. Trust me on that one.
Oh yeah, you'd be lucky. You'd be lucky in life. You got to keep both of those bad boys. Somebody asked about would we work with other cloud providers?
Mm-hmm.
Where was that?
I think there was Fully Electric who asked that question.
A portion of Flux should be called a Keller. I don't know, man. I don't know about that. I don't know.
Well, Satoshi got a sats,
yeah, I'm
right?
not that though. I'm not even the one that coded any of the stuff. I'm just a guy that was lucky enough to be at the right place at the right time and work with all of you guys. So yeah, we don't want that. We could call it a trunk. Or a honeyman.
Days Gamer was asking, how do I apply to be part of the Flux team? Actually, go to runonflux.io for that one.
If you want to be part of the actual team, join Discord and hit up one of our community leaders, our mods, and they'll point you in the right direction. We're always looking for talent. So,
Absolutely.
if I always tell all the folks, mind with your mind, right? Go out there and you create content, you can create graphics, you can join the Flux Army, which is shaping up to be really, really nice. It's got a nice ambassador program in there as well. There's bounties that you can make by finding, mistakes or in my case, every spelling mistake that's ever made, which you'll be a millionaire by the end of the year. So that's good news there. But there's plenty of room for growth there.
Well, and just really being active in the community can get you in the team as well. I think Derv joined us recently like that. He's been going ham on the support side and the community support chat.
Yeah.
He's been helping a ton of people. Like he's part of the reason why we're at 10,000 nodes at this point. So quick shout out to him as well.
Yeah. The easiest way to get added to the Flux team is to show up and do some shit. That's really what it is. I would say the majority of our moderators and our team members will all tell you how they made it here. And usually it's me watching them help people. And then the next thing you know, I'm in your DM and I'm like, hey, you want to join the team? Yeah, I'd love to join the team. All right, cool. You're in. So come on, let's kick ass and take names. So.
Okay, Fully Electric is still going ham on the question. So Flux has a ton of potential. However, just like to know where they're headed and if they plan to implement so many awesome services that can be integrated.
What is it?
Flux has a ton of potential. However, just like to know where they're headed and if they plan to implement so many awesome services that can be integrated.
Well, yeah, that's kind of that's the point. It's an ecosystem.
We delivered the infrastructure. How you guys use it and implement and grow it, that's actually on the community, basically.
Oh, no, I'm going to take this one. Mr. Flux threw something up. This is good. If Flux is located in the U.S., then the SEC could potentially serve cease and desist orders to you there. It's not located in the U.S. It's not located in the U.S. at all. It's not located anywhere. Flux is a decentralized platform. So where do you send it? Well, if you send it to me, my lawyer is going to send you back and say, yeah, I don't know what to tell you, bro. He doesn't control the network, and trust me, I've already had these conversations. You know what I mean? Like we've had I don't know how much I can say here, but we've had people that other projects that, wanted to go after us as well because they didn't like our cut. They didn't like how we were coming. And you know what? I deal in facts. And if you don't like it, tough shit. So I'm completely comfortable with the position that I'm in because this is a community-based platform. And if you serve me with a cease and desist order, there's nothing I can do to help you out. I'm sorry. I mean, it really isn't. I can't take an app off the network. Nobody can. Once it's been deployed, it's deployed. It's there. So they're going to have to hunt down the folks that deployed it. So good luck. All right, what else we got?
How is the idea for the incentive for running bare metal coming along? Guys, we just finished a halving.
Calm down. No, seriously. It's a good question, and I've been kind of talking about it for quite a while. We're gonna release something Q3-ish, specifically around bare metal and our push to bare metal as well. The other thing you're going to see is that's going to kind of coincide with the new Cirrus nodes as well, because those Cirrus nodes are almost exclusively hosted from home and with a very low lockup. I think it's 50 Flux or whatever it is to run one of those nodes. So, I think you'll see the same time the Cirrus nodes come out, I think you'll start to see the incentivization for home hosting. And the next question is going to be, how do you determine who's home hosting, right? Well, we're going to leave that up to you guys, and it'll be part of the process. So I'm excited the way it's all going to come down. So there are ways for you to share with us exactly what's home hosted versus VPS, and you can do it as simply as understanding what the IP address range is for a particular VPS provider, right? And I'm not a technical guy, so if I butcher this, I apologize. This is the point where the dev meeting I fell asleep. So there are ways that we can absolutely identify those that are home hosting. So we're
leave it to Walter. He'll figure it out.
Walter is an animal with this stuff. You point him in a direction and he tears shit up. So yeah, I think quarter 3, quarter 4 of this year.
Bit of a more difficult question, and something that Paul Neumeyer was asking. Sorry, Paul. I just spent over 6,000 to build a home server and running 8 Flux nodes on it now. Congrats.
Yeah, awesome.
I've seen that there will be a network speed test done, which most likely will be added to the benchmarks in the future. Here's my problem. If your network provider can't meet the required speed, then most home nodes will fall off the network, right?
It's an unfortunate thing, but that's what it is. I mean, you know what the requirements before you ever start out with the process. So, I mean, we were very transparent. We had multiple meetings about this. Man, these are the uncomfortable conversations you have to have, because I'd love everybody to be able to run a Flux node everywhere, all the time, anytime. It's just not feasible. So, if you're going to have to put the resources in, you're going to have to put yourself in a position where you have that bandwidth. I don't know if maybe you could, possibly find, internet service in another area and maybe colo your setup. I don't know. But I will say this, and I'll put an asterisk out there. So the response is, I hear you. And then what I'll say is this, is we're always evaluating the current specs, and as the network continues to grow, the demand for that, maybe that upload speed, which tends to be what the issue is. It's not usually the download speed. It's almost always the upload speed. Those can be evaluated, but for us to be able to do that, we have to benchmark this network. We have to stress test this network. We have to make sure that we are meeting the criteria to deploy large institutional applications to. And once we feel comfortable with that, we may make a change to that. I don't know. I'm not promising anything, but I am saying that, nothing with the benchmark is ever carved in stone. We're always learning. We're always iterating.
All right. Question from Hort. He has to ask every EMA apparently, when moon? I think we passed the moon.
Son of a bitch.
I think we passed the moon already.
Yeah. We're chilling, man. We're chilling around the moon and getting ready to rock Mars. So yeah, I think this is, man, this is a time. This is exciting. Like, look, I tell you all when I say this, and this is old man Dan speaking, right? There's very few times in your life where you're able to participate with something at such an early stage that makes a difference. You might get 1 or 2 chances in your entire life, right? I've been blessed because I've gotten 2. The first one was being able to participate in Bitcoin very early on. And the second is to participate in Flux. So you guys are right at the right place at the right time, and you're able to participate. So whatever it looks like, whatever you can do to participate with this network and help it grow, that's what's going to be. Man, down in Bitcoin Miami, that was insane. I can't even tell you how big this place was. It was massive. And the second floor was nothing but institutional investments coming in and wanting to develop on the Bitcoin platform, the Bitcoin protocol, and building out these new particular, different products they have. And here's the kicker. For them to be decentralized and still work with Bitcoin, they're going to need a decentralized network to power it. And that's where Flux comes in. And as I made my way down those different spots and talked to all those different people, each and every one's eyes lit up when I told them that it already existed. And I gave them the little, where is it at? I have this little card. I gave them this little "Don't be evil again" card, right, with the QR code on the back. And those were all over the place. So they didn't even know something like this existed. So we're going to continue to keep being in people's faces, and we're going to make sure that we are the solution to what they're going to have as a problem. All right, one more question, and then I'm out. I got like another live stream and a podcast, and I can't even talk. So,
let's see.
Why price so low? Can't devs do something? Where is that? What's his name? I don't know, the guy that does. Oh God, what is his name? Who's the guy that does that? Can't the devs do something?
Yeah, there's a GIF going around that on Discord at times, right?
Yeah, I can't. Rocket Nick or something like that. I don't know. It's just like, it's crazy. I don't know where the hell they found that guy, but it's funny to watch. All right, one last question.
Okay, will the Flux seat have any market drive to supply home hosting devices worldwide? Raspberries, and it's difficult to get at insane pricing.
Well, everything's difficult to get right now. Supply chain is absolutely jacked.
Try buying a car.
Yeah. So I look, I've seen some creative solutions. Volter bought like a $125 computer, and he put a note on it. I mean, there's lots of possibilities out there. And the one thing we are looking at with proof of use of work as well is to really get some of this old technology that's doing nothing and get it back evergreen, get it back doing, compute. So if you have an older computer and it meets the spec for the Cirrus node, you'll be able to deploy on the network. So I would say that we want to see as much hardware running as humanly possible, and also we want to run this stuff to death. We don't want to change every 2 or 3 years because there's a new technology out there. We want to make sure that we can be a little bit more evergreen. Do you think NVIDIA will be able to produce specific Flux mining products? I'm going to say no. NVIDIA is still not super warm about the whole mining aspect of things. Where we really got the opportunity to dig into NVIDIA's mind is around their Jetson deployment, their AI and edge compute. But I will tell you, I've brought up different little teasers in our meetings around the ability that if we start to move toward a proof of useful work model, doesn't that fix a problem for NVIDIA in the sense that their products won't be used necessarily for mining, but actually for compute resources? So they were pretty interested to hear about it. So I feel very positive the way that we'll be in next year and the year after. It's not going to look like it does today. All right, one last question and we're done. So,
all right.
Man, we had a great turnout too, guys. Thanks everybody for jumping on here. This was like totally impromptu, and I'm sorry for the quality, but
I think we answered a lot of questions too. I'm just scrolling up here. See if there's anything in the
follow me down the rabbit hole. That was the whole point of these cards. Is you scan that QR code, and I don't know if you guys caught this or not, right? So you scan the QR, and it takes you to the Run on Flux website. And then if you look in the upper right-hand corner, there's a little white rabbit. Click that white rabbit and see what happens. We had people doing it down at Bitcoin Miami. It was pretty cool. I actually passed the guy who had the card. He was scanning the QR, and I like kind of stood back like this and was watching him open the website. And I watched him find the little rabbit, and he stood there and watched the video. It was pretty cool. So.
All right, one more question. How about a Zelcore hardware wallet? Any plans?
Yeah, we're definitely going to, I mean, that's on their short list. I think you'll eventually see Zelcore be the user interface to a hardware wallet. We want to make sure that we allow people to participate in all the pieces that Zelcore has to offer, but still remain with some store, keep their assets out of Zelcore if they want to do that. So I think Zelcore will eventually be the front end that you can keep a hot wallet. That's exactly what Zelcore is like a hot wallet or a warm wallet. And then you'll see the cold wallet where you'll be able to actually have your Flux as well and be able to still participate in node networks and stuff like that. So that's a long process, guys, and it's on the list. And I don't see it happening this year. It'll probably be into next year.
Right.
So
I know we said a few times already. Last question. Okay, this is the last one then.
Okay.
Is there a possibility that Flux mining can compete in terms of profitability with currently existing coins? Question from Carlo Pieri.
I think Flux is right up there. You have parallel assets, and I think we're probably one of the most profitable coins to mine.
I think, yeah, we were.
Because what you're seeing on what to mine is only the currently released assets. You're not seeing the future assets and the past assets. So, parallel mining allows you to mine in the past, the present, and the future. So I would say if you go to do the math correctly, we're probably number 2, maybe number 1 from time to time.
Well, we're often definitely top 5 often. Currently, we're a little lower, but that's mining. It goes up and down. If you're chasing profits, I got bad news for you. You might not always get the profits in long term. So
look, man, we heard the same pitch at when Flux was like 3 cents.
Mhm.
Oh my God, I'm losing money and I can't mine. And it's like, look, delayed return on investment, folks. If you just keep mining, you keep bagging up, spend your dirty fiat and pay your electric bill. And then when Flux decides that it's going to flux, then you're going to be in good condition. And hey, I'm going to tell you, we printed a lot of wealthy fit folks out this last year. A lot of folks who were been in that project for the beginning. And if you think that you're too late to it, you're 110% not. All you have to do is go look at the current market cap of someone like ICP, and you put the numbers for Flux in there, flip it around and see what happens. I highly recommend you do that. So, all right, guys, thanks for jumping on today. I appreciate it. Way to go, 10,000. I love it. Next stop is 15,000 and right on past the moon and into Mars. So thanks, guys, for jumping on. I'll talk to you guys later.